Howdy, gamers. Welcome to Checkpoint Reach, a weekly show where we discuss a topic in gaming with occasional news stories thrown in, movie and TV quotes, and just some random life rants. Thank you all so much for joining us, and so sorry about last week's episode, but I hope you enjoyed our little Let's Play exclusive of the video game Peak. But before I get more into that, I am your host, Lex, along with the wonderful, the amazing co host of mine, Ernie. Ernie, how are you, my friend?
Hello, hello. I am doing fantastic. Thank you for asking, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks, man. You were showing me some silly videos before this, and it took us a while to get started because we're just cracking up. But
Yeah.
dude, I know before on the channel we discussed. So for anyone who might not have seen it last week, we ended up playing maybe about 10 minutes of footage posting for you. It was a lot more footage than that, but we kind of narrowed it down of us playing the video game Peak. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's a multiplayer game where you climb up mountains. Basically, just a bunch of stages to climb up with funny results. And so we hope you enjoyed. But we played it, and I know in the past Ernie was like didn't really care for it, but now that you've kind of played a little bit with more people, what are your thoughts on it now?
Dude, honestly, I had a really fun time. I think you were right. And I think, well, Kyle and you, front of the channel, right, had both told me that I think it's a fun game, but it gets a lot more entertaining when you have more than one person playing the game. And I think that's what was missing. And so we luckily we were able to all play together. So I had Lex from the channel, Jamie, and also from the channel Kyle, right? And so we all got together. We had a little game. I think it was like maybe like an hour or something like that. You said, right? I forget how long.
A little powwow, if you will.
Yeah.
No, it took us about an hour. It was weird. The game's been having a little bit of difficulties as far as getting started. Like the chats won't work, like the proximity chat won't work, and it's more fun with the proximity chat because like you can hear people's echoes and stuff rather than being in like a Discord or something like that. But yeah, I think we had about 40 minutes of actual gameplay because you sent me some footage, maybe a little more, and then I got my footage and basically spliced it together and try to combine and stuff and catch all the great moments. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it as well because it is a super fun game. We've all been playing it a lot too, and it's just had a new update, so I think it's a little harder now. But definitely recommend if you can get some friends along to play that game. But yeah, man. Other than that, dude, I'm doing great. I'm glad we're back on the horn here. Um, hopefully things are sounding good. But dude, I know it feels like we've been a while since we've actually recorded an actual episode, even though it's only been what 2 weeks.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a while. I think it's because we're so consistent with putting out episodes that it kind of was like when we were kind of skipping, it was like kind of odd. And I mean, we didn't say this right, but I feel like we should. When we did the Let's Play, we ended up having an audio issue with one of the episodes we were trying to do, which is the one that we're presenting to you today. But for whatever reason, last week we weren't able to do it. But for whatever reason, the audio on Peak was fine. So we're trying to figure out what the heck is going on our end. But yeah, so we were scrambling. We're like, you know what, let's just do a little Let's Play. Lex and I had both been like talking about it for a while. We're like, well, what if we just play a game and then we just talk? Like it would be sort of the same sort of situation, but with a gameplay, right? And so that's kind of why we ended up doing that, which was pretty cool, like you said. Um,
No, yeah, it was a blast. I enjoyed it. We almost gave up. And, no, let's just why don't we just play? This is what we wanted to do in the first place. But yeah, it sounds like we missed a lot, but we sure missed talking to y'all. So let's go. Let's keep the ball rolling, shall we? With our top hit, what are we playing? Obviously, we're playing some Peak, but have you been playing anything lately? I guess in the past couple weeks since we've talked. I mean, besides Peak, what is there anything you wanted to add that you've been playing?
Man, I am having a hard time thinking of what I did play because I just haven't had a lot of time. I've been messing a lot with emulation, and I think I even talked about it last week or something like that. And I have a PlayStation Vita, like I have here, and it's in my drawer. And I've heard that there's like a Vita emulator that you can use on your phone. And I was like, well, what if I just get the games that I own? Because I own Persona 4 Golden. And so I stripped the game from my own file, got it, put it into my phone, and used the simulator thing. And I was playing Persona 4 for a little bit. I literally only played for like 20 minutes or something like that, because a lot of it is a lot of story, a lot of talking, and I haven't even gotten to like any sort of action at all in the game. But it's really interesting. So I've been playing a little bit of that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've been doing a lot lately about of gaming, and honestly, I can't think of anything, dude. I just besides Peak that we played together. Oh, you know what? I am lying. You know what? I have actually had time to play, and it was like yesterday. I played a little Fortnite new season, dude. I was playing. I think I was playing Blitz with a friend of the channel, Kyle, and also just regular Battle Royale. And the season's cool, man. I like it a lot. I really, really like the Power Rangers skins. I think they look awesome. I almost bought the whole bundle, which is like the red, pink, blue, and yellow, and black, right? And I was like, you know what? I don't want those because the one that I want to get is the Green Ranger. It's already in the Battle Pass. I'm like, why spend that money when I'm really not going to use those costumes or those skins? So I'm waiting to finish my Battle Pass. So I've been kind of grinding that here and there, but I haven't had a lot of time to play because I'm on finals week almost, so I have to focus. But yeah, I've been playing that, dude. Played with a friend of the channel, Jason, dude, on my Android, on my Samsung. I was playing it on there, dude. It works well, dude. I was like, holy cow, it's fun because like I don't have a portable way to play that other than my phone at this moment, which is awesome. I'd rather play it like that. I have a Nintendo Switch and that runs terribly. But what about you, Lex? What have you been playing? I know you were gone. You were somewhere. I don't know where you were.
Yeah, I was gone for the weekend. I was out in vacay, little. I was in San Fran. So yeah, I didn't have much time to play. Besides, but we played Peak. I did play. I remember played Fortnite with you, Kyle, and Jason. I think the week before. I did try to play a little bit today of the new Fortnite update. I did see all the Power Ranger stuff, and I did see that bundle. I'm like, oh man, that's too much. And like you said, like I don't need all the skins. Like you only need one. Like I know, but that's how they get you, right? They want you to buy all that stuff, and maybe they'll separate them eventually. Who knows? If you really want a certain ranger, you can do that. Um, I have yet to explore the whole map, but other than that, I haven't really played much. I did play a little bit of Last of Us today, and I did want to share a quick little story. Last of Us Part 2. Obviously, the game's been out for a long time. This is not really a huge spoiler, but I'm going to say spoiler if you guys don't want to hear anything. But it's not. So there's a certain part, Ernie, and I don't know if you remember this. You play as Ellie, and I think it's Seattle Day 2 it is. And it's right before you're meeting up with the Seraphites, like right before you encounter them. So there's like a little safe house you can go into, and there's one door that's locked in the safe house. And then you go to the tool bench, and when you activate the tool bench, some guy gets you from behind. Do you remember this?
I do remember this.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so I had this idea. I'm like, you know what? I always see these videos where how people ruin cutscenes because, like, say, like they throw a Molotov in the cutscene, the person's on fire or something like that. So this time, I'm like, I know where these guys are hiding, so I'm gonna set the trap mine right by the door, and I'm gonna set one in this little corridor. So I open up I start the toolbox thing, and all I hear is get her. And I look back and everyone is just dead. I'm like,
Oh,
there's
that's
one guy I had
awesome.
to shoot, but I was like, that is so awesome because it's so funny
It just
because
works
obviously the
out.
first time it's spooky, it scares the heck out of you when it happens, but it's a good time. It's funny to do that stuff. So anyway, let's go ahead and continue on to our next topic, which is the topic of the episode. This week we are talking about top video game protagonists according to us, and maybe some fan favorites because I don't know everyone. I mean, I know everyone, but I haven't experienced all of that. Makes sense, and maybe Ernie's the same way as well. We're not doing this in any particular order, so we're not choosing favorites, although we may have a couple favorites. But let's go ahead and get started with our first one here. So the first top video game protagonist, according to us, in our years of playing here, we get Nathan Drake from Uncharted, the treasure hunter explorer with a smart mouth and a wild streak. Now, he's great, right? Because he's relatable, but also flawed because he's kind of a mass murderer. According to the game, you kill so many people in that game, but he's supposed to be like the hero. But he's kind of like based off like an Indiana Jones. He's charming. He's witty. He's just like his great relationships with the co-characters in the series, like Sully. He has Elena. And he just loves. He's not like a. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He's more of a thief, right? He's not like the kind of guy who's like, I'm gonna take it to the museum, right? No, he's a
No,
thief.
no, no. I think he's more of a thief. I think he sells. I don't think they ever really get into that. They just every time we're there, we just kind of hear the story. But obviously, we're always put into the position where
You're
he
doing it.
has like he's trying to do it to make money, but he ends up saving the world because of something that's there, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh, because maybe the antagonist is like, yeah, he's gonna get in the way of it, and it's like, oh no, wait, now we have to stop him from using it for bad or right and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
So he just ends up he's the like the unspoken hero sort of. He takes it upon himself to, end up saving the world, whether he likes it or not, in a sort of way. Because like
And
I
the
go ahead.
and the fourth one is more because he's got to get his brother out of a jam because he's kind of retired and all
Mhm.
that stuff. But yeah, if you haven't played these games, I would definitely recommend playing the Uncharted series. This is actually I think I've talked about on the channel. This is the game that converted me back to the PlayStation because I played the demo at a Best Buy when Uncharted 3 came out. So I'm like, oh, this game's awesome. I'm gonna get it. And I remember I had seen Uncharted 1 and 2 and be like, oh, that looks so fun. But I'm on my Xbox 360 grind right now. And then I switched, and then after I was playing a little bit of the third one, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna play them all, and I did, and no regrets. One of my favorite series for sure. Naughty Dog, of course, they make great games. The second one I think is one of the best ones. Obviously, the fourth one is really good as well. Um, they're all a great ride. The first one has a little more tweaks. I wish they just did a full remaster of those first three, but they have not.
I agree, man. It's a great game, and I think if we going back, or if we're going back to when we did start playing these games, I remember trying Uncharted 1 on the PS3 when the demo was released. They had a demo for it, and and I still remember vividly sort of like where you start, and you're like in this like green area, or like very green sort of area with like these pillars that you're hiding behind. And I always thought it was really cool, and I think at the time while playing it, I'm like, this is really good, and I definitely should like finish this game or like buy it. But I think I want to say that when this game came out, I think I was in high school. So primarily my money went to like Call of Duty if I had the money to buy a game. And Uncharted just wasn't the game that, I was looking to get. A lot, I'd have to pick and choose at the time. I was just a broke kid. And I remember I think the one that I ended up playing before any of them was Uncharted 2 because my brother had purchased the game and he let me borrow it. And I remember playing and being like, wow, this is definitely like definitely like a like I don't know, I guess a game that I need to start from the beginning. So I ended up going back just like you and beating all of them when I got to 3 eventually. But dude, those games are freaking awesome. I would like Lex had stated, we highly recommend it. I think it's a great series.
I think Ernie says the movie that they based it off of is just one of the best with Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, Mark
Uh,
Wahlberg. I think he's the best version of Sully. But I wanted to get into this, my
Go
friend,
ahead.
because we're talking about obviously we're talking about the main protagonists in games and why we think they're great. But these characters are not without their flaws, and I think that's what makes them great, right? And that's what you said with the sorry, oh my god, what's going on in my mouth? The relayability, right, of a character is the flaws because not everyone is perfect, and I think that's one of the things that I think a lot of like movies now have done is they've created these characters where like you're just gonna like it because you're gonna like it, and they have no redeeming quality. It's just like they're not very well written characters, and I think that's the difference in these characters. And so they're well written, right? And as I stated before, Nathan Drake, he has his flaws, right? Like you said, he's a thief. He's obsessed with glory. He lies to the people he loves, and he's very very reckless. The amount of times that guy has put people's life in danger is too many to count. And I think although he prevails, right? Um, it's not without any scratches, right? And I think a lot of people are hurt, not just physically, but emotionally. And I think that's one of the great things about the character. Like, although he is that and he has his flaws, he always does come out of everything not unscathed in any way, but like he still is able to, you know, protect the people he loves, or like
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. I mean, yeah, I agree with you, but also the people that he ends up going on these journeys with know what they're getting into. They're not accustomed to this life. Like Sully for sure knows, you know, and later in the game, there's Chloe. There's is it Cutter or is that his name?
Yeah, Cutter.
There's a
Yeah, but
couple
what
people.
about
Yeah.
yeah, but like I guess like Elena, right? Elena doesn't know
Hmm.
what she's getting herself into until like maybe not even halfway because it starts like pretty early on in the first one. But I
She's
think,
there to like document, right? She's like there
yeah,
to,
she's documenting these things, which is cool because you see that all like we said, he's shooting a lot of guy mass murder, right? But he's a very smart and very smart guy, and he's able to look at these artifacts and kind of tell you this artifact is this, and it's really interesting. I would have loved for them to delve a lot deeper into sort of artifact hunting in that game, where it actually meant something, not just collectibles. But we're focusing on one thing, and this is more of an action adventure than anything else. But
yeah, that's more of like a Tomb Raider if you want to like kind of delve more into like the exploring, especially the third one. I think of the rebooted series. I think they go more into like the puzzle aspect, which the game's not short of its puzzles, but also like the conversation with the characters are hilarious. Unlike Naughty Dog's next protagonist that we're going to get into right now, um, the man, the myth, the legend, Joel Miller from the Last of Us series, a hardened survivor and smuggler trying to protect what little he has left. He's a very complex character with a dark past, uh, and present as well. I guess you can kind of say. Becomes a father figure to a girl that he's protecting, or starts up as a smuggling job, but ends up being a deeper meaning because of his past, something that happened. I mean, spoilers. Everyone still here. His daughter dies in the beginning of the first game, and then 20 years later is what the game is what we play is set in. Um, he's not a hero in any way really. He's like exactly like what you were saying with like Nathan Drake. He is going to protect the people around him. That's his people. He does not care to double cross anybody that he doesn't trust, and he just has to get his way through this to survive in this apocalypse. Um, he's emotionally closed off. He's selfish, but later on, that might change a little bit. He kind of gets a little bright light when he meets a fresh new face named Ellie. What are your thoughts on this
yeah,
character?
yeah. I mean, like you said, those flaws are kind of what make him a character that you're able to not relate to
Root
100%, but
for.
you understand where he's coming from. And I think that's the point of these well-written characters. Again, is that we have this character Joel who is got nothing to lose but his own life, and eventually, like you said, someone gets introduced that he feels that he needs to protect by all means, emotionally, physically, and he goes out of his way to do that, which like it puts you in that position. Like, what would a father do, or what would a person in that same position do, right? And it's interesting because if you ask someone, and I'll ask you this question: is like, did Joel make the right decision at the hospital towards the end of the game? And what would have done? What would you had done had you had two choices? And the thing is that he did sort of make the right choice, right, in his mind. But it's like, again, he could have done this for other thing that could have been better for the grand scheme of the whole world, sort of thing. But it's like, without spoiling, right? But it's like, that's the interesting aspect of that character is like, you you really don't know, and he's never been a proclaimed hero. We just start to care for the character more because we're on this journey with him. But he's not, and hands down, he's not a likable person, right? He's not a good person, right?
No, yeah, exactly. That's what makes him. Yeah, like you said, he even when he's like you're playing as him before he starts getting all fuzzy feely. I'm just kidding. I like you still like him, right? He's still like just that hardened protagonist that you're still kind of like I want to know more about this guy, right? Let's like I want him to open up, and then with Ellie, you're like you see more of his past and you start seeing more things, but then you see him kind of go up, start to open up a little bit. It's cool to see because you started off as this hard ass, but yeah, I mean, depending on who you ask about the hospital choice, yeah, I mean, there's both ways to it, right? But a lot of people would argue, it is a selfish thing he did. I mean, Ernie, would you do that for me, dude? Would you leave me behind for yourself? No, I'm kidding. Uh,
And I would have rescued you, dude.
you would have
I would
saved
have
me.
put you in my arms. You know what I mean? Like, carried you all the way out. Yeah, it's crazy though. Like, so, I mean, and it's fun because this is the cool thing, right? Because we're talking a lot of protagonists, and I want to get into the next one, right? You have Ellie Williams, Last of Us, right? Part 1, Part 2. And this is the duality of those characters because of the way that Joel was. did that affect the way Ellie was? And when you really boil it down to it, they were the same person, right? And they both wanted a certain sort of, I guess, ending to their story, right? They are self-sabotaging themselves. That is the point of these characters, and that's the flawed nature of them. I'm not sure if you understand what I mean by that, because
I
again,
do.
um, we think that, oh yeah, Joel is the reason that Ellie is the way she is, and that's why the way her story ends up playing out is because of that character and the way everything kind of went down. But truly, that is not the case, right? But I'll let you get into it. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I mean Elliot's yeah, you're right because like in the first game she's innocent. She's just a kid, and but as the game progresses, she has to make some more adult choices because that's what she has to do. She has no other way, and you can kind of see Joel like, oh my gosh, like obviously he's gonna take care of her because of something, like what I spoiled earlier. Like he sees like, wow, what if this was my daughter going through this, and this is the same thing I would have had to go through, and now you see Ellie 5 years later in the part two, and she became the main protagonist of the game. And yeah, you can see a lot of Joel in her. She's she's strong. She's reserved in some things as well. Um, she's very vengeful, right? She's like she's gonna protect us exactly. But again, like in that world, there's so many different factions that we don't see and some that we do see that you'll be like, oh, these people will do whatever they can for their community, and she is definitely someone like that. But Ellie, is she selfish in some things that she does? Yeah, of course. Like both characters were. There's some things you're just like, just leave it alone, because something very traumatic happens to her in the second game. If you do not know, I will not spoil it here, but if you don't know, then you must be living under a rock somewhere, because I feel like it's such a with the show and the game out, right? I think everyone kind of knows. Um, but yeah, she's great. But yeah, you just kind of see the shift in her and lose all that innocence by the end of the game, and it's pretty sad. But she's a great character as well. Very flawed, exactly like you say. Layered. Um, I mean, there's a question here for everyone. Do we agree with her path in part two? Was her revenge justified? And it's the same question as with Joel. Yes and no, right? There's two sides of everything. She ended up, I guess I'll say spoiler here. Spoiler, she ended up, losing people she was closest to because of the path she chose, not by death, by actual emotional loss, right? And I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's
No,
sad.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. I think that's the thing, right? Because I want to go back to what what you had said about Joel, where he sort of mentored her to be a certain way and taught her to be more to survive in this world, right? The world in itself is its own character. We've talked about this before. The world is alive, and a lot of things are happening. Sick and crazy people all around this world, and that's shaping everyone, especially Ellie, who's at a when we first meet her is at such a young age, and so by the time that we get to her, she's equipped in The Last of Us Part 2 when you start to play as her. She's equipped with these survival skills that are basically a way to defend herself physically. But what is helping her defend herself mentally? And so the mental instability that both Joel and her share are that duality of the characters. At least I believe that. Again, I could be wrong, but that's how I've always viewed it as I played the game.
It goes without mentioning too. I agree with this, and I think Ernie agrees with this as well. If you had not played the game and you've only seen the show, then you're getting a totally different character. They do a lot to Ellie that we weren't big fans of. Ellie is definitely a lot better of a character in the game. I mean, I still enjoy the performance and how they went, but like they kind of not I wouldn't say butchered, but kind of right. They kind of like they her whole
uh,
deal was kind of cut. I don't
they
know. It's hard to
definitely
say.
they definitely took liberties in the characters characteristics in terms of like how she chooses to react to certain news. I think it works better for television. I think that's why they did it, which is terrible because I think Last of Us, the season one ran a little bit more like the game a little bit. There was more moments of the game, and I think it still ran well. I mean, there was one episode that they changed completely that wasn't part of the game, and I think was beautifully done. But other than that, I think that's probably the reason, Lex, is that we got a Ellie that was more sort of toned down. The Ellie that we know, the one that we, like we stated before, grown to know and how she's been is a far more angry and vengeful, as you stated. And maybe they're gonna work that into the next season. It's gonna change up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I just what really bothers me about the second season is that in the early episodes of the season two, is they show Ellie fighting a guy that's a lot bigger than her, right? Because obviously she's smaller, and in the video game she gets taller, um, but she doesn't grow in height, which I get. They have to adapt to that. But then after that, like later on, the one of the writers, which is not Neil Druckmann, the guy who wrote the game, directed the game, he stated, "Oh yeah, clearly the guy is bigger than her. He can't take her down." But it's like, but in the first episode, you showed us her fighting a bigger guy, right? And that's what like I really bothered me about that change. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the show, Ernie.
I know it's funny, guys. It just became about that, dude.
I know, because it's I mean, and it's I mean, like it like bothered me, right? It's like, I wish that the second game is, but it is a tough story to sell. But anyway, let's continue on, shall we, to our next set of characters in the same universe. But we're going to start with the protagonist from Red Dead Redemption 2, a character of the name of Arthur Morgan. He is an outlaw who slowly converts his past and tries to change. He's got dare I say it, a redemption arc. Um, he has to balance tough choices, and there's a lot of, I don't want to say because it's just such a masterpiece of a game, but like something happens to him where he realizes like I need to come to terms with what I've done. I need to try to get forgiveness and do right by people because he's been a criminal all his life, working under his I would say his mentor, but his gang leader Dutch, and yeah, he's a loyal guy. He's very loyal to Dutch, but then towards the end he becomes like he's in this dilemma, right? He's like, wow, he's like, this is not what are we doing here? Like this is not going to help me, and I'm gonna go down with this gang and what do I have to show for it, right? Like what do I show for my life? And it makes such a great character because it's just the choices they make in that game. You follow him this whole way, and it's just beautifully done, beautifully written. One of the best games I played in a while for sure. I mean, there's other games too, but this is definitely one of those that are up there as one of my favorite games. So what about you, Ernie? What are your thoughts on Mr.
No,
Arthur
yeah, man.
Morgan?
It's
Mr.
a
Morgan, Arthur, we got a problem. We got a big problem.
We got a big problem. I got a plan, Arthur.
Oh, he says, he goes, this is the place, Arthur. I can feel it.
I can feel it.
Always promising, dude. Empty
He's
promise.
like, I got a plan. All right, so yeah, no, dude. I think I'm glad that you said that. It's a phenomenal game, and I highly recommend this. Most of these games and characters and main protagonists, there's a reason that we put our top protagonists because we played these games many times and we love the stories. But the cool thing about Arthur Morgan, and I think we'll talk about it also with John Marston when we get into him, is that again these characters are flawed, right? They're loyal to Arthur is loyal to a fault. He's violent and emotionally blocked, right? And he's not a good person. Okay? And you can choose to play the game as not a good person throughout the game. Now, the story is still sort of similar. It's how you get there that is the big, beautiful moment to the game because you'll have a different, sort of emotional understanding of this character and why he chose to do what he had to do, right? But at the end of the day, like if you do play the game the way you are sort of aligned and the way you feel as a person, I guess, because a lot of people play both sides, and I don't think there's any wrong way of doing it. But if you start to play it as the good Arthur Morgan, the one that wants to redeem what he has done, it's beautifully crafted in that way that it's like he's living with this regret of what he has done in the past, and it's still there. It's inherently there. Because even when you're doing good, you can see that Arthur Morgan is still the Arthur Morgan that was the outlaw, and you can see that it's still taking a toll on him. So when he is deciding something, he's like, "Wait, what's going on here?" I don't know if you played it like this, Lex. I played a little bit of it. I played a little bit where he's the bad guy, and it's interesting because I felt really bad about what I was doing, but when I was doing it, I was like, oh, wow, this is how I imagined him continuing to be had he had this big change in his life not had happened. Like, I think that's the point, right? And when that thing that does happen to him, no spoiler alert, when it happens to him, he's doing a bad thing. He's doing something that we all know while we're playing this game, like, man, this guy is not a good person. Like, and so you see that when all this is happening, you're like, well, is it okay for him to redeem himself? Does everybody deserve a second chance, right? And that's that's what the redemption of two is, right?
Yeah, dude.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Honestly, yeah, I think I don't know how I played it. Usually, when I play games that give you the option to be good or bad, I always kind of go to the good route. I don't know why. I always just feel like that's the way to play most games. But I got to start when I want because I do want to play this game again. And when I do, maybe I should try the bad route. I'm pretty sure I was kind of in the middle as well as you, but I did lean a little bit more to the good side. But you're right about redeeming himself, and he kind of does it right to this character that's we're going to talk about right now. Mr. John Marston from the first Red Dead Redemption makes a return in Red Dead Redemption 2 because the second game is actually a prequel to the first one. And John Marston, a young John Marston, is in it. And, spoilers, Arthur tries to get him out, right? He tries to he's like, you're a young guy. Like, I can see, because John Marston kind of is not the same way, right? He has that feeling towards where he's still impressionable, where he's like, kind of be swayed and kind of does like, should I be doing this? And I think he already has his family in the second game, right?
It's a cool little story arc.
No, yeah. So yeah, in his game, he's basically trying to do right by his family, getting a better life, and he's basically, not I wouldn't say on the run, but he does get tasked with hunting down some people from his past, and he worked for the government, and it's just the whole thing where you can feel the weight of his choices. He's trying to right his wrongs in a broken system, right? And he just it's such a great and it's so great to see like after you play the second one, it's like wow, and you go back and you're like, oh my gosh, like that's why I would love a proper remaster of the Red Dead Redemption one. But I mean, the one we got is still pretty good recently. So if you have not played that game either, it's like it's hard, right? Because like, do you play the second one first or do you play the first one first? Because obviously the second one, the gameplay wise, is just miles better than the first one. But like, if you really want to get a good grasp on the story, you're gonna be like, oh wait, that. But I guess it could work the same way, right? Because you can be like, oh, there's this character and this is how he got there. I guess you played back to back is what I'm trying to say to make a confusing little story here. But I don't know. Did you go back and play the first one after the second one?
I did. It works well. I think it's better if you play Red Dead Redemption 2 to go 1. The only issue is that when you are playing Red Dead Redemption 1, you see that it's sort of dated. It still plays beautifully. It's still a great game. It's still a lot of fun. But it has it's interesting because it has that Rockstar charm of the past where it's a lot sillier and it's not as grittier and more adult. I feel like Red Dead Redemption 2 is, so it changes up a little bit there. But I did do that. I ended up finishing 2, going to 1, and then going back to 2 to play again, like I stated before, where I was trying to be evil and seeing how that worked for me. I have a buddy who played Red Dead Redemption 2. His name is Caesar. You know him. And he played Red Dead Redemption 2, played the crap out of it. He loved the game. Like, I think he left on such a high that he's like, I don't know what to play now. Like, I love this game so much. And he eventually got to Red Dead Redemption 1 and he beat that. But it was fun because he played it for the first time ever. So it was like, to him seeing what was going on and how it was going to end for the story for these, what's the game called again?
Red Dead Redemption?
No, the gang in general. What's
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it not? It's not the Vanderlyn gang, right?
the Vanderlands? There you go. I think it's
Yeah,
the
it's
Vanderlyn. I was gonna
Dutch's
say
last name.
the Chamberlain gang. I don't know. That was a little throwback for you. Most of you guys don't know what that is, but yeah. I mean, go ahead. What were you gonna say there?
Oh no,
Okay.
yeah, no, I was waiting for you to finish up. But yeah, and it's not the Caesar that comments on our videos. It's a different
Oh
different
no,
Caesar
it's a
here.
different season. No,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
just
great too though. I guess
um.
sweet.
But yeah, great, fantastic games. But let's move on to the next protagonist here. Another character you might be familiar with, a man who's fought La Plaga. He's gone through cities where he's like, what is happening? He's a rookie cop. He becomes an elite zombie killer. It is Leon S. Kennedy from the Resident Evil series. Dude, this guy is a guy here. And honestly, I've only played the fourth one with him in it, so I don't know. I haven't played the other games with him. What games is he in? The very first ones, or
He's in Resident Evil 2. He's in Resident Evil 6. He's in Resident Evil.
4, obviously.
Say that again.
I said 4, obviously.
I think Umbrella Chronicles as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I think that's just like a
Oh, okay.
remake of one of the old games. It just becomes like a shooter. I forget, but he's in a few of them. Dude, awesome character.
Yeah, I think he's definitely like a fan favorite character too, for sure, right?
Definitely. I think what's cool is, well, this is a little random little rant here. But when when they announced Resident Evil 9, someone had posted who the main protagonist they think is going to be, or this is going to be the main protagonist, and it was a picture of someone had photoshopped a picture of Leon Kennedy old, right? Because the ninth one is taking place back in Raccoon City after they bomb it and everything, and so like he's coming back, so it makes sense. It's some girl protagonist who came on Resident Evil Outbreak or something like that, but a female protagonist, sorry. And yeah, dude, he looks so freaking cool, all old and stuff. And I'm like, dude, that would have been such a cool character. But again, it's like, maybe he'll come out eventually. Who knows? Like, at this point, we don't know what has happened with Leon Kennedy up to the point of Resident Evil 6. What happened there? That's the one I actually did not beat. I don't know if you ever played that one. That was more action oriented. And it's really pretty. It's really, really, really graphically beautiful.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he's a great character. When I played the fourth one, I was like, I like this guy a lot. He's very like, he's just a badass, right? He's witty as well. He's always saying some stuff like, it's just like, and he keeps very calm in this dangerous situations. It's so funny, like, as opposed to playing like as Ethan Winters in Silent Hill, right? He's always but I'm just like, he's not, here we go again, some shit like crap like that.
Yeah.
He's emotionally unavailable. Sometimes he's a little too trusting as well. He meets some sketch characters, but what do you do, right? Like if
Yeah.
you're in this crazy, you're thrown into this crazy situation, like you kind of have to hook onto some people that are willing to help you, but might screw you over in the end.
I know. That's the thing, right? Like he meets like this big old dude with a trench coat selling weapons.
The merchant,
the merchant, right? And then it's like you said, it's trusting. But I guess that's the silliness of Resident Evil, right? There's a bunch of little things like that. But yeah,
I feel better with those merchants, to be honest with you. I feel safer because when I see them, like, good.
There's something about it, right? Oh,
me.
we're chilling. Yeah, we're okay. Exactly. I know exactly what you mean.
He goes, "Hello, stranger."
Oh my god, dude!
What are you boying?
What are you selling? What a great character! I love the original voice. I know they changed it in the newest one, but yeah. No, I mean I haven't played the new one. I just seen a clip of it. I know you had let me borrow it, and I never got around to it. But I think I personally, my favorite game with Leon Kennedy was Resident Evil 2. I think that's the one that I really got into. As a kid, I ended up playing, and I shouldn't have. And I think I've told you the story. If I have not, I will tell it to you now. But I played Resident Evil 2. Man, I want to say I was like 8 years old, maybe 7. I was pretty young, and I think I shouldn't have been playing this game. But my brothers had purchased it. PS1, we still own it. I still have the physical CD copy of it. The only thing I'm missing is a Claire Redfield, because there's like 2 versions of it that you can play as, right? The characters. And I remember playing that game like a lot. I played the beginning of it. I beat the whole game. Like I knew exactly what I needed to do to get like it. Like you can run. This is random, but in the beginning of the game, you could run through the streets, and if you don't pick up any ammo and just get to the police station, there's gonna be a locker room that unlocks for you, and it'll have like this suit that you basically can hold your gun to the side. I mean, it's a really interesting little thing.
That's
but
pretty cool.
So I knew the game really well, but there was a time where I fell asleep the first time I ever played the game, and I remember waking up from a nightmare that a zombie was coming at me, bro. And I remember, waking up, and as a kid, and I was like this dude pointing at like this, like the gun, like that with my fingers.
That's awesome.
And it's funny because I still remember that. Like, this is a true story, dude. And what a great game. And like, there was this cat. I don't know how you guys are. If you guys are friends of the channel here, if you guys are listening, sound off in the comments. But
we hope you are listening.
Yeah, hopefully. Back then, Capcom used to have this intro where it was like, and it was like these squares, and they were glass, and there was like light hitting them, and it would go or whatever. Every time I would see that intro, dude, I would get scared. And one of my favorite games, Mega Man 8 for the PS1, had that, and it would creep me out because I'm like, oh, am I playing the right game? And it was because I was so scared. I was just scared to get bros. Random little
That's
side
funny.
story for you.
I know it's funny when you were talking about that. I blew my nose and I looked in the camera like I was looking to see if I was good. I was like, why did I just do that? So anyone
I
watch
mean,
that?
I know friends of the channel now. Now we know that if he's okay or
that's
not. Let him
that's the
know.
main protagonist. But let's move on to the next one, shall we? The next character you might know. She's kind of a tomb raider, as they may say. Her name is Laura Croft here. We're talking about the old school one or the rebooted one. I think we're talking more of the reboot one because I'm not
Yeah.
super familiar with the old games. I know of them, but I never really played them too often. So
Yeah.
playing this rebooted series was a great introduction to the character, showing her from a young. You're smiling, you're loving. What's happening?
I am, dude. It's because you said Tomb Raider or whatever. There was this meme I seen recently. It was like a girl like cosplaying as Lara Croft, and
The old
again,
polygons.
I'm not making a joke of this because I don't think it's I don't it's whatever. There's nothing wrong with it. But she was chubby, right? And so someone instead of putting Tomb Raider, they put Fridge Raider,
Oh
and
my
that's what I was
goodness.
laughing at, which is sad. It's silly, but that's what I was thinking about. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my goodness. Dude, you're funny. No shame to that. But dude, yeah, she's an intelligent survivor. And it's cool in that rebooted series, right? You see her as a young, naive kind of person, and it's great because like she has to kill like her first person. You see that turn. It's funny because like when she first does it, she's like, oh, but then the next scene you're like, you're just all of a sudden you're like you're good with it, right? But I mean, it's for the gameplay's sake. But dude, she's an awesome character. I still have yet to play the third one in that series. I had just finished the second one, which was really good as well. Great game. It's basically it's your Indiana Jones, Uncharted, basically another type of game like that, right? It's a different same style, but I would argue the more the Indiana Jones side because you're raiding the tombs and you're trying to figure out how to get like the relics and all that stuff, and it's a great time. I really enjoy these games. She is uh trauma driven, overly independent. She has a sweet little friend. His name is I forgot his name. He's this big old little like Hawaiian dude. He's like, hey Laura. But dude, sweet game. Um, what are your thoughts on this game, Ernie?
No, yeah, man, I agree with you. I think it's a great game. I played the originals when I was a kid in PS1. I think it was like Tomb Raider 1, 2, 2, and 3. I played them. I don't remember them that well. I don't even think we beat them as kids. I know they have stories and there's a lot to the character in itself, but I don't remember them that great. I think Tomb Raider's big introduction to me was probably when Angelina Jolie ended up making the movie, and I felt like I knew more of the story then. But yeah, I think this reboot that they ended up making was probably one of the better versions of a reboot that we've had in such a long time. I remember putting countless of hours in the first one where I like 100% completed the game, and it was really great, dude. I had such a great loop of like experience points to gain like a full, the full like arsenal to your Lara Croft and how you wanted her to be, because at the beginning of the game, right, this like you stated, she's sort of well, I don't know, I don't think you stated this, but she's sort of fragile, right, in the beginning. Like she's not the Lara Croft that like everyone has like knows, right, where she's able to like kill and do all these things. And so when she does end up, being having to be put in this position of surviving, and her first kill is so impactful because of the way that it's all handled, and it's so well done. And I think that's what we talked about, right, when with Uncharted and Nathan Drake, and how he's just a mass murderer, killing all kinds of people. It's basically a gun gallery or whatever they call that, where it's just like he's just shooting, he's just killing all these people, no remorse, no worries in the world, nothing's happening. It's just like he's just killing. And every time Lara Croft kind of feels like she's killed or done something, you sort of feel that angst of that character, like this is not right, sort of thing, right? And you can hear it when she's like, I like the way that they voice work the actor. I forget her name out of the top of my head, the person that plays the new Lara Croft in the reboots. But the way she, like, when she kills, she goes, "Ah!" And like it sounds so like she's putting all her effort just to do this one particular thing. And I think they worked it great because she's smaller than a lot of the bigger enemies, and so she has to work around that. And it's such a great little story, great protagonist. I hope they do. I know they're making another game soon, and I hope they kind of keep in line with what the new Lara Croft, is.
No, yeah, and I like to target back on like the experience. It all feels so good, right? It feels so like smooth, especially when you're like looking for crates of things, and it just feels really good when you're playing with the controls. And I was thinking about too another cosplay thing I've seen what people do is the old polygon version of the Lara Croft when it's all
Oh
like
yeah,
the triangle freaking chest. I was like, oh my god, this is
yeah, that's
freaking
hilarious.
game. But dude, amazing game series. I really do want to get back into the run. You know, it's funny. I actually got, and you might have done the same thing. Got a bunch of the old Tomb Raiders for free. They were available to claim, and I have a bunch of them. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever touch them because I just going back to that old style of gaming, it's hard, right? Because I know especially those games, they're not the easiest, but I would like to give it a try because I never really got into it. Like you, the movie definitely was something because they tried to do another movie similar to this reboot with Alicia Vikander, right? And it didn't work out. I think
I mean,
didn't really.
it sort of plays off like the newer reboot games.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it wasn't that great. I actually seen it.
I
I
haven't watched
watched it
it.
like very recently,
Oh,
and it wasn't like I'm not even kidding. It was on Tubi or something like that. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this movie, and it's not terrible. Like I still enjoyed my view of it, but there was something missing, and I'm not sure. Like if you go, I mean, I feel like even if you go back to the Angelina Jolie ones, they're actually pretty solid. I at least I think so. Those are pretty great. I've always loved them, but I don't know.
well, yeah. Let's go ahead and continue on to the next one here. Our next protagonist, some might argue, is another anti-hero. Kratos, dude, for the God of War series. Obviously, the first few games, he was just a mass god killer, uh, ancient creature killer. He was killing everything that stood in his way for vengeance, right? But in the rebooted series, he's kind of still the same, but he's more of a father type figure. He's raw, he's emotional, he's dangerous. He's a mentor. He's kind of looking for redemption in his life, right? Similar to because of all the things he did. Because even though the game is rebooted, it still like refers to his past in another life. I think this the reboot takes place in like the Norse mythology, correct? If I'm
That
not
was correct.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fantastic character. Definitely flawed. Very powerful guy as well, layered, but he's guilt ridden, right? He's kind of like a Red Dead Redemption, right? He's guilty in his past about, especially in these newer games. Um, but in the old ones, I don't think you ever got that feeling. He was just like relentless. He's like, I'm just gonna kill everything I see.
Well, yeah. I mean, that I think that's the point of the first God of War game, right? Is when you're playing as Kratos, he's been betrayed by the god Ares to murder his family, and the reason he's white or his skin color has that sort of pigmentation of like this, like sort of dusty white skin. That's his family that was burned, their ashes, right? And so the character is always reminded of what he has done in the past, and I think that follows him through everything. And I think that's why he's so angry, so vengeful, and he wants to get through all this stuff. And it's interesting because I think this is all sort of the plan of the whole of the of this character, right? Like he wants to kill all these gods in order for him to sort of redeem what he has done, and in turn, he ends up becoming what they were. And then, you know what I mean? He ends up becoming what he hates. Is essentially that's why it ends like that. Like because at the end of the game, you sit on a throne and he's like this. And I think they bring it back in God of War Ragnarok, if I remember correctly. I don't know if it was a DLC or part of the actual game, but he talks to them. He talks to himself as a young man, and he tells himself, "I remember how you felt sitting on that throne. I remember what that throne meant." And like it's such a really great scene. If you guys don't know what that is, you guys should look that up. If you guys have already played these games, if not, maybe go back and play. A lot of people don't like God of War 1. I think it's a little bit more difficult with like puzzle challenges and stuff like that, but I think they're both great games. And I think, like you said, I think in the newer ones he's a lot layered in terms of his characterization because he has a father. He is a father now, and I mean, well, he was a father in the past, but now we're actually seeing him raise a child rather than just murdering one. Um,
Definitely. No, he's damn. No, yeah, for sure. I mean, those are another set of games that I would love to see kind of rebooted. I know they remastered, but like if they just like
they
did a
did, yeah.
whole like from scratch and just built those games up because that'd be a lot of fun. Or did they do that? I
I
don't know.
they did a HD remastered, I think,
I
for
know
the
they did it with
PS3, but
three. Mm-hmm.
they did, I think, for I know they did that one for PS4. I think they did it for PS3 for the 1 and 2. I heard your favorite moment in God of War is the beginning of the game where you press circle many times
with the woman, yeah, with the woman in
with
the
the
first
woman
game.
dab.
That's actually one of
Yeah.
the first games I got introduced to on the PlayStation. I remember playing that. My buddy had it. I'm like, "What is this game?" And I remember playing that scene. I'm like, "Oh my!"
You're
Already,
like,
uh,
Mom, can I have this?
I
Go
know.
ahead.
Can you go ahead and introduce the next character when I just give me 1 second, but please,
Yeah, of
let me look
course.
her back.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
the next character we're gonna introduce here is a sort of a staple of the multiplayer world, right? I think most people know him, and I think it's crazy how far we've come with the character. But we're talking Master Chief from the Halo series. Now, Master Chief, he's a super soldier, saves the galaxy. He's always wearing his green helmet, and you know he's a symbol of sacrifice and duty. Represents such a he represents himself as such a stoic leader and controls any situation that arises and is put upon him. Uh, for the most part, he uses uh, his his uh, his actions that are going to speak louder than his words because he doesn't really speak. He's a protagonist that is meant for you to feel like you're the Master Chief, right? And I think they work it really well in the games. But he's not without his flaws, right? He's emotionally numb. He's conflicted about who he is as a Spartan, and his obedience. He doesn't have a problem being obedient without questioning what's happening. Eventually, I think his character sort of starts to question what is really happening. But at the beginning, that's just how he is. He's there. He's ready to go to war. Very one sided of what he needs to accomplish.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I want to just take a moment. Like I feel like what makes a great protagonist, right, is like I feel like every character we talked about, they're flawed, they're flawed, they're flawed, and I think that's what always makes a great protagonist for sure. But yeah, dude, Halo, dude, the Green Meanie they called him. No, I'm kidding. He's a sweet character. I remember. I think the third one might have been my first introduction to these games, and I loved it. And I remember going back and playing those original ones. But I remember being in school and everyone's like, "Halo 2 is coming out," and I think I hadn't really got into that. I was like, "What is that?" They're all, "You don't know Halo 2?" And dude, I mean,
Yeah,
he's a legend, right? He's a legendary
he
character.
is definitely a legendary character. It's funny that you say that. Like the way that they handled Halo,
Infinite?
especially in the time that it was out. No,
Oh,
just in
sorry.
general, like
Mm-hmm.
Halo. I remember it kind of being like such a staple of multiplayer, and I had mentioned that in the beginning. And then Call of Duty had come out, and then it became like this war between what's better, Halo or Call of Duty 4 at the time or whatever. And it was interesting because I fell in the Call of Duty camp, but I did play a lot of Halo, and I remember always still sticking my guns. And it was, I think I was telling you, this is like the first time in my life that I remember getting like being such a hardcore, like, I love Call of Duty, Halo sucks. And it's like, why am I doing that? Like, why, like, now it's like a thing that people do more so. But at the time, I had not done that. I wasn't like, why do I care what other people are playing? Like, but it was like I was being such a dick about it because I felt like Call of Duty was such a superior game. I'm not saying it is, right? I just, at the time, I had that mindset. Now it's like, dude, Halo was such a staple of multiplayer. Like, it was such a great game. There is no like multiplayer games without those Halos and what they introduced to the next generation of multiplayer games, were inspired a lot of from Halo. And well, I mean, obviously it was from Quake and all those games too, but and Doom and all that. But
Yeah,
meaning in that multiplayer space.
yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of sleepless nights as well playing, Halo multiplayer, even story wise. Like I remember me and my buddy, we when we were in middle school, we played the first one together. We beat it in a night. We stayed up till like 4 a.m. This was before alcohol, and and all that stuff. We were just running off soda.
Off the good
Dude,
stuff, off that caffeine.
exactly. And then, but also Call of Duty as well. But dude, this game, it has it's like a I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but like it has a very like a core memory for me, definitely, like playing these
Yeah,
games and playing a lot with people. But
I
speaking
think.
of
Yeah.
another,
Sorry,
you
this is the
want
last thing.
yeah, please.
Yeah, last thing. I remember playing this game and actually feeling like that super soldier. I don't know if you how well you remember your. I know you said you played with your friend. I don't know how well you remember like the ending of Halo 2. I
3.
think it was. No, or was it 1 or 2?
Oh, what's
The
the
one where you're
ending?
fighting away from the. You're running away from the creatures that are like the hive, right? I think they're called.
I can't remember,
And,
but you're not
and
talking
then
about the
you're like an
driving sequence, right?
yeah
Oh,
the
that's the
driving
third one.
sequence.
That's the third one.
That's
The
the third.
Warthog.
Thank you. The third one. Thank you. And you're in the Warhog, and I remember being like, dun, 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 dun,
Because
dun, 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 dun.
and the
And it's
floor is
like,
falling. Yeah, and
dude, oh, dude, good.
we played that so many times, and it's funny. Like we'd get off the fight and we'd mess around and start driving off, and your buddy's just like,
Wait, dude. I've had a time where the car like had gotten blown up somehow, and I was like, dude, we gotta run. And we were like, well, let's run. And I try to run, dude, and there is no running in that
There's no
game.
way, yeah.
And I freaking died because you can die, like you can die in that moment. And it's funny because the way that that's built, it's like no, you're like going through a sick moment.
Didn't we used to work with a guy who dressed up as the Master Chief at weddings?
Oh my god, yeah, dude. Holy cow, dude. There was this guy we used to know, and he used to dress up like Master Chief and go to, and his friend was a DJ, and he would just get in the suit and dance. Or it was his brother, I think. And that was his friend. And so he would dress up like Master Chief, and he had like, dude, he had like an Instagram about it, and he had like the lights right here on his head of the helmet. Dude, it looks so cool actually, and it
cool.
actually like really neat. But it was such a funny thing. That guy was supposed to DJ my wedding, dude. That guy was supposed to DJ my wedding, so I could have had Master Chief there, and he didn't show up.
That was that guy, and I asked him, I was like, "Oh, what do you have plans?" I'm gonna retire at like 26. Well, no, you're not.
Okay,
That was good. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? Speaking of commanders, let's get to the next commander. Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect series. Now, Ernie hates me, doesn't want to play this game ever. So no, I'm kidding. Mass Effect, another flawed character, another game where you can choose if you want to be good or bad. Obviously, I went the good route. Now, I've loved these games. I played the legendary editions with all the DLC. I think I mentioned in previous episodes. Fantastic. I played all the way through as much of the DLC and side missions I could do. I did it, and such a great game. Space sci-fi RPG where you're this leader who builds relationships and you have to make hard choices of who you want to be kind of better allies with. You know, you have to give up. You don't get a lot of options to be good with one person and be good with the other. Like you had to pick or choose. And but in the end of the day, he was willing to sacrifice everything for the greater good, right? He was very loyal to the people that trusted him, and you know, if you do things a certain way, people were loyal to you. Like you'd get that certain trust. And obviously there are a couple good little bangings in there. But dude, fantastic character. I loved Shepard. I There's a question here: does Shepard feel like my story? And dude, yeah, because you're shaping the story, right? Especially in that game, there's so many different dialogue options, so many routes you can take. Well, more so dialogue. I'm sorry, but like, and if you don't have like your evil meter or good meter at a certain level, you can't go a certain route. Um, Most of the time, the game ends up in the same route anyway. You get to the same storyline, but it's a different outcome with like your allies. And I think Commander Shepard's a
It's the
fantastic
journey
protagonist. It's
to getting
the journey
there, right?
anyway.
It's the
Yeah.
journey there.
Yeah, but what about you, man? I mean, I know you haven't really
I
played
mean,
these games.
I've only played the first one. And I only got up to like maybe about 2 hours, 3 hours in the game, and my Commander Shepard is still sort of not as developed as I would like him to be. I think in terms of like what the relationships he's sort of building upon, but he does have some really dope lines in the beginning where he's like, or at least the way I had made him feel, where he's like talking to the command and like they're telling him, "Hey, this is what's happening," and then he's like, "No, that's BS." You know what I mean? It kind of feels like that when I was playing, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be cool." And I played as the male version of Shepard, and I like, dude, I want to get into it. I really do. It's just victim of circumstance, and it's been kind of like that weird, like, man, I should, and I know I should, because I know I'm gonna love every moment of playing that, but I can't get into it right now, and I don't want to force it because it's gonna go bad. What's it?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this one of the first games that your choices carry over into the second game, and like the multiple game?
No, I think there was. Right? Well, actually,
it was one of the early ones for sure, right?
I think it's one of the earlier ones for sure, because
especially with like your
had
romances and who your allies are in the next game. As long as you have your save, file and all that good stuff.
I remember I think I might be wrong. I don't know if it was IGN. I forget who interviewed them, but they're showing Mass Effect 2 because Mass Effect 1 did so well, and they're showing the board of Mass Effect 2 or something like that in the background. They're showing you how they're trying to intertwine if you did this and talk to this. Dude, it was so freaking crazy. If I remember correctly, it was that game. Um,
I know Telltale
anyways,
Games did that as well. But yeah, dude,
they
let's
did.
let's jump into the next guy here. We got Link from The Legend of Zelda, the silent hero, the protector Hyrule. He goes, the only noises he makes is
He goes,
dude.
yeah.
Uh, now I'm
Yeah, that was
not
a weird one.
super well versed in the Legend of Zelda series.
But
I
I
played Breath
am.
of
No,
the
I'm just
Wild
joking.
and I played Tears of the Forbidden Lost Kingdom of the South of the Pacific, whatever it's called.
Ooh.
Tears of the Kingdom. What is it? Is it Tears of the Kingdom?
What?
Uh,
Aquarium of the Pacific, is that what you're
yeah,
saying?
something like that. But yeah, courageous guy, selfless, embraces danger without fear. He's the
But
silent
that's
protagonist.
you, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to like embody you, right? You are
Yeah.
a Link, right? You are a Link to the past. Oh, uh, dude, he's an interesting character. I mean, Ernie, I don't know if you want to speak on him more because I don't have too much
Yeah,
of
I
a.
definitely can. I mean, not recently, but I was playing Breath of the Wild and I beat that not long ago. And I started playing Tears of the Kingdom. I kind of stopped because I just didn't want to play on my Switch. But the game, the character is great. I think, again, the flaws, right? He has no personal motivation. You're basically this character, but you don't feel like you have a motivation even when you're sort of choosing what's happening to you. You are just going based off what these people need, and you're always helping these people. You are definitely the link to this world, but you're more so, um, you move with whatever they tell you to do. And I think that's the interesting point of this game. I think gameplay is king for the most part. And I think that's one of the main reasons that Breath of the Wild did really well. But in terms of the character's development, like you really don't do much. He just looks cool at times. But it's interesting to see the way the story is because there's multiple versions of you that have been in the past and in the present when you're playing and stuff, and you're always a different person, but you're always the same person. You're just reincarnated in a sort of way or something like that. I don't know the story that well because some of them kind of, I think some are connected and some are not, if I remember correctly. And I've only played like a handful of them. Like I own like most of them, and I played the 64 ones. I played some of the DS and 3DS ones, and I mean most of them. But it's like even then I couldn't come back and tell you, hey, this is what this is about. But I could definitely tell you, great gameplay, a lot of fun, and I think Nintendo knows that this is one of their main IPs or characters that they can definitely put out there, and it's gonna sell well, right?
Yeah, I hear you, man. All right, these last few protagonists here, we're gonna try to kind of go a little quicker with them. Our next one here, we have Aloy from the Horizon series, a brilliant and resourceful outcast. I'm kind of actually surprised you added this character because I know you kind of find her, and I think a lot of people would agree with you as like the character. I mean, the voice actress Ashley Baker. No, is it no Ashley? What's her name? Oh gosh, I can't think of her. Ashley Birch. I'm sorry. Does incredible in the role, but I think with the writing for the character, she's kind of a bland character. But that doesn't mean she's a terrible character. She's fierce, intelligent, curious. She can get through a lot of things. She's resourceful. She solves mysteries. She's taking on these ancient tech and bosses, and she's just. I think the flaws here are she's a little overly serious as a character. Um, I think she gets a little better in the second game with her social skills, but it still kind of feels that same character.
And
Um,
it feels bland when she speaks. That's the point, right? You feel when she's talking to a character. The character's cool. I like Aloy. I beat the
me
first one. I
too.
really enjoyed it. I think the story is cool too. But Aloy as a character, she feels detached. She's a little too serious. Like she doesn't and she doesn't know when to like sort of be charming in any way. And I guess that's not a bad thing because obviously the world is kind of sort of in deep shit.
Well,
And
like I mean, if you
even when she talks to people, like you can tell she's like lacks a social skill. But again, it goes back to that. That's the character, right? She was raised with just one particular person because nobody liked her. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and she's
And
basically kind of a. I mean, I don't want to give it away how she
she's an
was kind of
outcast.
came about like that too, but like how she basically came into the world and all that
Yeah.
and that stuff. But I mean, again, I think in the second game they do a lot better with their character. I think the second game is fantastic, the Forbidden West. I know you haven't really delve in. I think you did. You end up beating it? No, you didn't, right? You
No,
kind
no,
of
no. I'm like, I'm not even. I didn't start. I'm like heading towards the middle of the game, but I'm done. I'm not gonna play that
you're
anymore.
never gonna play that game. I mean, yeah, I think the battles are fantastic. Feels great, but
Oh
it's
yeah,
so
dude,
big. It's such a big
they're
game where
so
it's like
dope.
ah. But I think that game truly Forbidden West was like, okay, this is a PS5 game. This is what the PS5 was made
Can
for
do.
to look, and that
Yeah.
was one of the early games, and I thought that was amazing. The next character on our list here, Sly Cooper from the Sly Cooper series. I mean, I think
Sly.
we just had Adam. I mean, he's kind of like a PlayStation staple, right? He's up there with the greats. A charismatic beast who only steals from other criminals. You know, he's kind of got a moral code in a way. He's raised with his buddies. He's loyal to his buddies who are all orphans. Um, I think it's Myrtle and what's the turtle's name?
Oh
Um,
my Bentley.
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 Sly. He has this rival Carmelita Fox chasing after him who they
Oh
have a
yeah,
little
dude.
they have a
They
little
have a little
flirty.
thing. They have a little thing.
They have a little thing just like me and Ernie. But one of the
Oh,
unrated
okay.
PlayStation leads. He's arrogant. He's flirty to a fault. Not great at honesty. And dude, honestly, question for the viewers, for listeners: should he make a comeback? Is he a forgotten or a hidden gem? I don't think so. I think people still want this character back in our lives. I sure do. I think these games are fantastic. This is one of those early games that I played that was like a true PlayStation staple game. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is so fun. The music's great. The writing's great. When you sneak around, it goes, dunk, 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 dunk. And then when you walk faster, dunk, 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 dunk. And dude, the boss fights are a lot of fun. They're a good time. And it's a great game if you haven't played them. I know they have them available at the PlayStation Store. I mean, I think they kind of tweaked them, but not like all the way. They definitely need a full, you know, remaster or whatever they have to do to them to get these games into back in a better state of playing. Because the camera in the original is so wonky, it's so bad.
Yeah.
I don't
Pretty
like it at all.
bad. Yeah.
But are you a little Sly Cooper and are you a little Sly boy?
Most Flyer, dude. I've beaten all the games when I was a lot younger. I started to play them again when I was a little bit older, and I played, I think, the first one, and I want to say I played these in time, and those were the ones that I beat. I had them on the Vita, I think, if I remember correctly. And yeah, the character's awesome. I really like the little side characters too that kind of like play off of him. And you know, his little witty banter that he has when he speaks and he's flirting with that girl, or girl, but the Carmelita Fox. It's silly. And even with the characters, once you get to like some of the bosses that you end up facing, that's even that's even pretty fun when you're the way that he sort of handles the situation, or it's you, but the way that they present it to you, you're like, oh, this is actually pretty silly. I wish I could remember a great moment in the game that does that, but I haven't played it in quite some time, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah, it gives you like those Mario, Donkey Kong vibes when you're like you're versing a boss, right? The
Yeah,
Astropod as well, like those style. The next protagonist here, who this man, he works for a company called Bridges. He is a porter, and his name is Sam Porter Bridges. uh, from Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2, we have Sam Porter Bridges, played by Norman Reedus, a delivery man tasked with reconnecting a fractured world, the chiral network, as they call it. He's got emotional and physical burdens. He's quiet, but he's a deep human. What I like about his character as well is like he comments on things going around. Right? He's like, oh man, he's just like he's his word, like you mentioned, is a burden. Right? It's a burden to him what he has to go through. His mission is very bizarre. It's very it's a
I'm Sam.
strange game. Yeah, it's all about reconnectivity. He's like he's a hero, right? He's an interesting protagonist. Um, Emotionally damaged, reluctant as well. He's kind of like, I don't want to do this crap, but he kind of gets thrown into it because he sees what it can do. But I think he's a fantastic character. I mean, he's one of the quiet protagonists that makes a huge impact, and I think Norman Reedus is perfect for that role. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree with you, man. I think he's an interesting character because again, I feel like he's sort of like a Link, right? He doesn't really speak a lot, and I think you're supposed to feel like you're him, but then sometimes you get disconnected on that moment because, like you said, he starts to speak on little things here and there, and it's funny because I think the way that they work it into it's like when you're playing as a character, you're supposed to feel what he's feeling. So when he says something, you're like, damn, or whatever, and you're like, you're thinking that same thing, and you're like, oh wow, we're connected. That's the point of the game, right? The connection between the worlds and the fractured world, and so it's pretty silly. And dude, I cannot wait to get back into Death Stranding too. I'm just like waiting to play, and I gotta get into it, man. One of these
Yeah,
days.
I was gonna play today, but then like I don't know,
Yeah,
I was just feeling really like tired at the time,
yeah,
and like I was like I'm just gonna pop in Last of Us because I can just do it a lot quicker. Because in Death Stranding you can kind of get stuck into a
yeah.
longer mission than you kind of want to. But I think it's amazing. I really can't wait to get back to it. Fantastic games. Two last little quick honorable mentions I want to mention. Of course, Crash Bandicoot, our favorite PlayStation mascot here, a man who jumps through multiple levels for what I don't know. He's doing crazy things in multiple games. And the last and final protagonist I wanted to talk about, of course, Mario. Mario, he's the guy. He's the princess. He's there. He's determined to
He's
save
the
this
princess.
princess.
He said
I
he's there
sorry,
to save the
he's the
princess.
princess saver. He
Yeah.
goes to every castle he fights, and the princess is never there. And it's quite frustrating when you're that character.
It's sad too because like now they just released that they're just friends. So he's not even saving
Oh, I did see
a
that. I did see that.
possible like future
Interest,
wifey or
yeah.
girlfriend or anything like that. It's just his friend, which is there's nothing wrong with being
He's like,
friends.
what's in it for me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Pretty good. But yeah, like that's the point of the game. Like, or at least as players of the games, right? You and I, when we play, we're like, I'm gonna get Peach because that's my girl. And now it's like, I'm gonna go get Peach because, dude, this my friend needs me. And it's like, one of them doesn't feel as cool, right?
I mean, like if you think about it, like the Bowser, right? He's always trying to marry Peach, right? So you're just kind of saving your friend into getting this marriage, this abusive relationship that he doesn't want to get
Yeah,
into. Who knows?
true.
But I mean, as you've seen, Bowser, he has a soft side, right? According to the movies. But
It
dude, yeah,
goes, you're so
he's
cool. The fucking
I know
song.
he's a great character. I mean, Mario, I think is a staple of protagonists. But dude, Ernie, I think that's it for
Yes.
me. Is there, do you want to send us off here for
Yes.
today?
Dude, please, thank you, Lex, for joining us. And also, thanks for the friends of the channel for watching this long into the video. Please follow us on Instagram at checkpoint_reach. There, I and Lex will be there to handle any inquiries you might have. Look, looks like he's choking me. Gotta go do it again. And also, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. There we'll have more content soon. We have a couple episodes that are going to come up soon. And also, just give us a like, give us a comment on this video. What do you think? I'm going to say this now because there's a part in the audio where I cut off my audio and it's really terrible. And it's when we're talking about John Marston. I'm so sorry, Lex. But it doesn't matter. We can fix it, but it's not a big deal. I just wanted to tell you that.
And I can hear you still too.
Yeah, you can hear me, but they will not be able to. So just to let you know, there was some good conversation. But yeah, Lex, that is all.
Yes, thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate you guys. And yeah, of course, follow us on Instagram, follow us on YouTube. Instagram is checkpoint_reached. Like, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Tell your friends. We'll see you next week. Checkpoint reached. Goodbye.
Goodbye.